Hey guys, Elvin Central here, and welcome to the Elvin Effect. Tonight I'm working on shading, not shading, I'm sorry, tracing, tracing certain things, fixing certain things that make, things that have to make sense with perspective. This thing, I had to fix this boot. I had to lower it a little bit because it was a little bit too high. So he's here and he's back there, so he has to go that way. It's things that I pick up as I go. I had to change this guy here. He was walking forward in the last page. The last page. This leg was in the back and this leg was in the front, and I actually did it again here. And I raised this thing a couple of times because I was repeating the same image as the last page without realizing it. But I changed it up, and I was using photo reference, and then I just went to the basics, the things that I already know about the human anatomy. And so I just decided, let me just do the one of those tricks that, basically stuff that I learned from David Finch, the human anatomy, the body. So I went with what I knew, and I started doing my own body, using some reference, but I just I didn't want to make it too muscular. Just basic, and not making the hands too big or the head too big because it's far away. And so there's gonna be some detail, but not too much detail because it's still coming from the light. So, but anyways, somebody I wanted to mention that somebody asked me today. So that they asked me this question. I'm like, I had to think about it, right? And they asked me, what does it take? Somebody that left me a comment. What does it take to get to this level? See, I don't think I'm all that, and I don't think I'm better than anybody or anything like that. But I do recommend, because I also went to school for this, and but they didn't teach me none of this. Most of the stuff I learned on YouTube, following channels like David Finch channel, Alex Ross. I also follow painters, different types of painters, acrylic painters that I also follow. I follow all kinds of artists, and I learn something new from each one. And what I do, I learn it and apply it. As far as painting, I would apply it in painting or acrylic painting. As far as drawing and inking, David Finch, this artist called La Rosa, Luis La Rosa, and of course David Finch. I follow him on YouTube because he's a great teacher actually. But to get to this level, you just have to learn and apply, practice. And it's about, I've been doing this for a very long time. Like, since I could remember, I've been drawing since I was 7 years old. I seriously, I took it upon myself to study at the age of 28. I got really serious at the age of 28, and I was just still drawing like before. I hadn't improved anything in any way, shape, or form because I was a very lazy artist. And so what happened was that one day I just sat down on my table. I was 28. I remember I was actually 28. I didn't have my first son yet, and I just sat down and I started, taking pictures, and I started using that as reference and just using that and strictly using pictures and getting like intentionally, like I had to do it exactly like the picture was. And like if I had traced the picture, keep in mind I didn't want to trace because in order to get better, you can trace at the beginning just to learn certain things, but you can't be tracing all the time. You can't depend on that. So I decided I'm going to learn. I'm not going to trace. I haven't traced before. I don't like tracing, so I'm going to start doing this. Start learning and I did. I was very disciplined. Hours at end, in the room on the table, just drawing, and so I kept at it. I just kept practicing. I actually got a book done. Well, I wrote it, but the writing sucked because I was not a writer. I was just, creating a story just to make myself draw the story, or just, show my artwork and try to impress somebody. And that was in 98, yes. Way back, when the conventions were small. And they weren't as crowded as they are now. And so, I did my first book. I was excited about it, but it was not done correctly. And so I kept at it. It's taking the next opportunity. Was at MegaCon with Big City Comics, and I was there. I believe it was 2006, 2005, 6, something like that. And at the time I was working in construction. I accepted this job as an illustrator working for Big City Comics. I drew like about 60 something pages of painted pages for a book called Omega One. I was very new at this, so I was still learning a lot, and my anatomy and stuff. I was still like fresh. I was still like a novice, really. I felt like I wasn't there yet, and I was just experimenting, looking for ways to make my art look better and better as a painter. But there were deadlines and stuff like that. So there were deadlines. Considering there were deadlines, I had to just follow. I had to try to do a page like every 3 days at least, because it was painted. It wasn't just drawing the page. It was actually painting the page. So it took me much longer, and I also had to pay the bills. So with that experience, under my belt, I did that for a couple of years. I got out of the comic book industry again. Life happened after that, and I allowed myself just to get lazy again and not practice and not do anything for a couple of years. And so that was happening in my life way too often. And when you hang around and you're with people and when you have relationships, and you're married, or you have a girlfriend, or whoever you're with, if that person doesn't give you the support you need, I mean, you don't have to live based on somebody supporting, you what you do, because it's up to you. But I had so many things in my life happening all at once, and family issues and stuff like that, and I just couldn't focus. And I kind of needed that person to help me out mentally, like, okay, you can do this, keep on doing what you love, and blah, blah, all that stuff. I didn't have that. So I did my best to hang around the people that actually loved what I loved the same thing I do. And that was there for a while. Something in my life happened again, which I can't talk about because it's past, but it happened. I stopped drawing for about 8 years. Once again, I stopped. And it wasn't until like a couple of months ago, 4 or 5 months ago, that I got back to this. And I got back to comics, I got back to illustrating, and this is my first book, my first ever that I'm writing. I'm not a professional writer, but I'm doing my best, and I'm gonna be getting help in writing the captions, the bubbles, and stuff like that. I'll do the art part, but I also have to, the story has to make sense. Excuse me. And so I made this video long, and the thing about this video was that somebody asked me, what does it take to get to this point? And what I can tell you is, follow a lot of artists on YouTube, learn from others, learn from their techniques. You can copy them a little bit, grab from this artist, grab from the other one, grab from the other one, and just apply it and make it your own. But study the human anatomy, study perspective, 1 point perspective, 2 point, 3 point, and just the vanishing points. Just work and get as much reference and information in your head that as much as you can. Use reference, yes. Don't trace. Don't start tracing stuff. I mean, that just don't do it, and just learn, because you need to learn how to do it without tracing. And so that's what I recommend. Just study other artists. Maybe this is not the style you want to draw. Maybe you want to draw more cartoonish, like more cartoon-like, or more realistic or less realistic, whichever way you want to do it, abstract, whatever, because there are all kinds of different kind of art artists today. And this style, maybe you may not like this style, but you may like somebody else's style. But this is what it's really all about. Everybody's different. Everybody's doing their own thing. And but yeah, to that person that asked me, what does it take to get to this level? Yeah, you just have to practice, study, follow other people that, and if you like their style, try to copy that, try to mimic that, not copy, but mimic that, and apply it to your work, and do what you can, and just, continue learning, and you'll develop your own style. That's how it works, you will evolve. And that's what I recommend. I'm still evolving. I'm still learning. I'm still, looking at. I go to David Finch's channel, and I learned a lot from him. I have learned a ton from David Finch. He's a great teacher, and I recommend that you follow him also on YouTube. He's the best. As far as teaching, he's one of the best. And so, well, with that being said, I hope I answered the question. I know it took about 12 minutes to answer that question, but I really had to just share the information. I had to share, I give you the what I know and what I do, and how I do it. And so, God bless, and stay creative, and until the next video.